Hello, this is Ariadne Rainbird, and today I'm going to talk about incantation. And this is from my book, And I Shall Go in Our Lady's Name, which is available on Amazon. I'll put the link at the end. So incantation refers to a series of words said as a magic spell or charm. The use of words as a magic spell, a magical formula, or spells or verbal charms spoken or sung as a part of ritual or magic. An incantation may be a written or recited formula of words designed to produce a particular effect. Hymns or prayers invoking or praising deity, the saying of words believed to have a magical effect when spoken or sung. Incantation involves the use of the voice to work magic and utilises the power in the voice. Incantation and chanting is very important in witchcraft as a way of raising power and focusing the intention of the spell. Words and song have a power of their own. Incantation is used across all cultures, in magic and religion, whether it is the sung spells of witches or the chanting of Gregorian monks or Tibetan Bonpa priests. Etymology. The word incantation comes from the Latin incantare, meaning to consecrate with spells, to charm, to bewitch, to enchant. It is associated with the words enchant, enchanter, enchantress, enchanted, and chant. Sung or chanted words are often used to access or guide magical power or intent in ritual. Many traditions hold the belief in the inherent ability of words or sounds to influence the universe. This can be seen as an extension of the power of language to communicate and describe our surroundings. Language distinguishes humans from other animals, and due to the complexity of the communication it allows, has allowed for progress in the development of complex societies. Knowledge of the right use of language and the ability to use more highly developed forms of speech give one power over and above one's own limited field of personal action. Being a good orator, being able to use words well and to project one's voice, can lead to great power, as people listen and can be influenced into action through arousing and emotionally charged speech. Many well-paid jobs involve well-developed language and the ability to use speech well, such as law, politics, and lecturing or teaching. The ability to use language to soothe calm and is important in the helping professions, and psychological techniques such as those used in neuro-linguistic programming use the power of language as well as body posture and movement to develop rapport, which can be used to influence people. There is a power in song too, which can affect people emotionally and move people to action. Magical speech and song are ritual techniques which can have great power. Words used ritually become symbols and are sacred and used for a different purpose than in ordinary life. In stylised speech or song, special attention is paid to word choice, grammar, style, metre, rhyme, or specific phrases or forms. Archaic words are often used because ancient words carry the power of the millennia and invoke a sense of timelessness and purity. For example, ancient Greek, Latin, Hebrew, Sanskrit, and Gaelic and Celtic languages. Using ancient languages in ritual can also help put us into a different state of mind, an altered state of consciousness, and reminds us that we're doing something different to the ordinary and are in a different realm between the worlds, and makes us more focused on ritual. Types of incantation. Magic words, nonsense words, barbarous words, or voces magicae may be a part of a secret or empowered language, such as Enochian, the language of the angels according to the Elizabethan magician John Dee, or thought to have special meaning or power due to the letters used, often vowels. Strings of vowels are used in spells in the Greek magical papyri. Sometimes certain words are thought to have inherent power, such as the mantra Om, or the special formation of the word can have power. For example, palindromes, a word, sentence, verse, or even number that reads the same backwards or forward. Or the formulaic abracadabra, or abracadabra. The first known mention of the word abracadabra was in the 2nd century AD in a book called Liber Medicinalis, sometimes known as De Medicina Praecepta Saluberrima, by Serenus Harmonicus, who was a physician to the Roman Emperor Caracalla. In chapter 52 of this work, he prescribed that malaria sufferers should wear an amulet containing the word written in the form of a triangle. He claimed that the amulet would have the power to make lethal diseases go away. Another theory is that abracadabra comes from the word abraxis or abraxas, whose letters in Greek numerology add up to 365, the number of days in a year. The Greek word abraxas is a word with mystical meaning that was used in Gnostic texts and on ancient gemstones. Abraxas was used as a charm on amulets and talismans in Europe, Asia Minor and North Africa from the 2nd century BCE until the 13th century. In the 2nd century CE, Gnostics personified Abraxas as a deity, the source of divine emanations. In the Gnostic Basilides system, Abraxas was applied to the great archon, Megos Archon, the princess of the 365 spheres, Uranioi. Abraxas is found in Gnostic texts such as the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit, and also appears in the Greek magic papyri. Gemstones engraved with the word Abraxas are called Abraxas stones. Another possibility is that it is derived from the Hebrew words for Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Av, Ben, Veruch, Hakoch. The closest ancient term, however, is the Aramaic expression Avra Kadavra, which means I will create as I say, and seems the most likely translation as a magical formula. Abracadabra was also used as a magical formula by the Gnostics of the sect of Basilides in invoking the aid of beneficent spirits against disease and misfortune, and is found on Abraxas stones, which were worn as amulets. Daniel Devoe, a 17th century English writer, also wrote about Londoners who posted the word on their doorways to ward off sickness during the Great Plague of London. In Thelema, a magical tradition founded by Aleister Crowley, the word is spelt abrahadabra, and Crowley considered it to be the magical formula of the current aeon. He claimed to have discovered the word and this spelling by using Kabbalistic methods. Abracadabra is now more commonly used as a magic word in the performance of stage magic, which may have weakened its power in real magic due to the associations most people now make with the word and children's performers. Perhaps Crowley's version of the spelling of the word can separate it from such associations and reclaim it as a genuine magical formula. Abrahadabra is a word that first appeared in the Book of Laws, the central sacred text of Thelema. The central philosophy of Thelema, do what you will is the whole of the law, bears a resemblance to the concept, I will create as I say. This can be seen as a manifestation of the law of attraction, the practice of intentionally creating one's own reality, which is the essence of magic. Abrahadabra may be a magical word with great power, or it may be just a barbarous word which we can charge with power. Incantations can also be rhymes, songs, prayers or hymns, sung, chanted, intoned, and or written on paper, parchment or papyrus, inscribed on metal or stone, and burned, buried, cast in water, etc. as part of a spell. The spell can be sung or chanted whilst the talisman is being charged, burned or cast into water. Rhyme is seen as particularly powerful in British witchcraft and in folk magic. Rhyme has a power of its own, as well as making the chants easier to learn and remember. The Witch's Rune is a well-known chant which is often used to raise power in Wiccan rituals. Darksome night and shining moon, east then south then west then north, hearken to the Witch's Rune, here I come to call you forth. Earth and water, air and fire, wand and pentacle and sword, work ye unto my desire, hearken ye unto my word. Cords and censer, scourge and knife, powers of the witch's blade, waken all ye unto life, come ye as the charm is made. Queen of heaven, queen of hell, horned hunter of the night, lend your powers unto my spell, work my will by magic right. By all the powers of land and sea, by all the might of moon and sun, as I do will, so mote it be. Chant the spell and be it done. Barbarous words often accompany this chant as follows. Eco, eco, Azarak, eco, eco, Zamalak, eco, eco, Kernanos, eco, eco, Aradia. These barbarous words are derived from words which first appeared in a Renaissance play as as the incantation of a magician. There are various other magical formulas in the Book of Shadows, which employ barbarous words which witches have attempted to find meaning in or to translate over many years. Incantations can also use metaphor, myth and symbol, and mythical imagery. The rhythm and metre can also be important. Drums and bells can be used to accompany chanting. Incantation has a variety of magical and spiritual purposes, including the following. Uses of incantation: to curse enemies, to heal, blessings, to cast spells, to conjure spirits, to exorcise demons, to invoke deity, to achieve an altered state of consciousness, to achieve oneness with the universe or unity with deity, to gain magical powers, to gain secret knowledge, and to strengthen the mind. Incantation in ancient Greece. We know of certain phrases or exclamations which are associated with certain deities in ancient Greek tradition, such as the Dionysian Io Evoe, which the Maenads, the wild women followers of Dionysos, would exclaim during their rites. The god Apollon is associated with the chant Ie Paen, and it is likely that other deities also had their own chants associated with them. In Pythagorean thought, the 7 vowels of the Greek alphabet were associated with the 7 planets and with the 7 musical notes. The vowels could be chanted or sung to invoke the powers of the planets and the harmony of the spheres. In our modern magic, passages can be taken from ancient Greek plays and chanted as a kind of mantra or legetoma. An example I use is the prayer to Hecate from Euripides' Helen. O phosphor Hecate, Hecate, pemper phasmet ephmeni. O torch-bearing Hecate, send visions that are favourable. And I generally sing this, or chant it with a tune. O phosphor Hecate, Hecate, pemper phasmet ephmeni. O phosphor Hecate, Hecate, pemper phasmet ephmeni. And it means, O torch-bearing Hecate, send visions that are favourable. The following is from Sophocles' Oedipus the King, lines 220 to 228, and may be used for healing. Ton chrysometran tekiklesko, inopa bachon evion, menadan homostolon pelesthene, phlegone haglaiopi, peke piton hapotimon en theos theon. I call on him whose locks are clad with gold, wild Bacchus to whom the Bacchants cry, to draw near with the blaze of his shining torch, our ally against the god unhonoured amongst gods. Incantation in the Greco-Egyptian tradition. A number of papyri dating from the 2nd century BCE to the 5th century CE have been discovered and collected together as the Greek magical papyri, also known as PGM, Papyri Graecae Magicae, which give a lot of information on spells and incantations during the Hellenistic period, Egypt. Alexandria, after the time of Alexander the Great, for whom it was named, became a melting pot of different religious traditions and was a unique period in history, and therefore the PGM can't be taken as representative of Greek, Roman or Egyptian magic in general, but is a synthesis of the various different traditions forming a unique magical tradition or traditions. The PGM itself contains many different types of spells or magical workings, many of which are aimed at acquiring the base needs of health, money or sex, but also some more mystical rituals, such as one thought to be a Mithraic rite of ascent through the heavenly realms. Magicians and scribes collected and assimilated various magical traditions. The papyri contain various types in incantation, including the use of barbarous words, as well as instructions for ingredients and ritual actions. For example, PGM 1 contains a spell to summon a daemon as an assistant. A daemon comes as an assistant who will reveal everything to you clearly and will be your companion and will eat and sleep with you. Take together, therefore, 2 of your own fingernails and all the hairs from your head, and take a Circaean falcon and deify it in the milk of a black cow after you have mixed Attic honey with the milk. And once you have deified it, wrap it with an undyed piece of cloth and place beside it your fingernails along with your hairs, and take a piece of choice papyrus and inscribe in myrrh the following, and set it in the same manner along with the hairs and fingernails, and plaster it with uncut frankincense and old wine. So the writing on the strip is A, E, 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 O, 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 we, O, O, O. And it's written A, E, 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 I, O, 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 Y, 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 O, 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 O. But write this making two figures. I sang it as I would imagine that it might be chanted as an incantation. The earlier Philina papyrus, dating to the 1st century BCE, describes incantations for health, which is incomplete with some words missing, which does not contain barbarous words or give much instruction for ritual, but is more of an anthology of metrical charms using metaphor. It gives a series of short incantations, each introduced by a title and who and where the spell comes from, and includes the following. The incantation of Philina the Thessalian for headache. Flee, headache. In weakness flee under a rock. Wolves flee and single-hooved horses flee, propelled with blows by my perfect incantation. So we see here the use of metaphor in the incantations in terms of wolves and horses fleeing. These incantations themselves in the Greek are dactylic hexameters, a metre traditionally associated with classical Greek epic poetry. No mention of the rituals which accompany the spoken charms are given. There are signs of traditional Greek content in these spells. For example, by my perfect incantation seems to have been a traditional way of ending hexametrical incantations, especially those for love or lust. Aristophanes, the 5th century BCE comic poet and playwright, used something similar as the end line of a parody in dactylic hexameters of a love spell cast against an old man in a lost play of which we only have fragments. And jiggle the old man's loins like the loins of a jiggle bird, and bring to perfection an excellent incantation. The incantation also has traditional Greek content in the flee formula, commanding noxious animals, demons and diseases to flee from the sick patient or community. Aristotle referred to a similar formula in the context of a 4th century BCE purification rite, and a late 4th or early 3rd century BCE lead amulet containing the words, "Flee, dog, at once, you, also Procropapasaste, associate. Raving, let them run, each to his own home." The animals may represent theromorphic, having an animal form, demons. Such spells remained popular at the time of Pliny the Elder, a Roman writer who lived in the 1st century CE, who quotes another hexametrical example. There exist similarities in Near Eastern incantations for such commands to noxious demons, which may have been borrowed by the Greeks in the late archaic or classical periods, but the metrical form, vocabulary and the theromorphic demons suggest a native Greek tradition. A fragmentary late antique spell to cure fiery skin eruptions says, "Formula against erysipelas, of 7 wolves or 7 maidens, fierce fire, of big bones, you, earth of all these things." Some words are missing in that formula. Formula against red eruptions. Of 7 wolves, of 7 bears, of 7 lions and 7 maidens quenched the ethereal fire. Say it. This may refer to a now lost myth of unknown origin of an initiate burnt by fire and then saved by the arrival of 7 water-bearing maidens. It could be Egyptian or Mesopotamian in origin, but it's hard to know. Wherever it comes from, the poem was still composed in Greek dactylic hexameter, the traditional form for Greek incantations. The Berlin papyrus appears to be a collection of 6 spells written in 2 columns on a single papyrus and contains spells of both Greek and Egyptian origin, but the writer's introduction states the incantations have been translated into Greek from Egyptian script. However, the later Greek magical papyri often refer to ancient and foreign authorship, although often obviously Greek in nature, and this may be just because the Greeks liked to think that the Egyptians had authority in the area of magic. The Berlin Papyrus begins with a traditional Egyptian formula for describing texts stored in temples, which probably describes spells that come from Egyptian temple scriptoria. An incantation in hexameters says, "Incantation over an apple 3 times. I shall give this pharmacon always timely and edible, to mortal men and immortal gods. To whomsoever I give this pharmacon, and at whomsoever I throw the apple and hit with it, setting everything else aside, may she be mad for my love, whether she takes it in her hand and eats it, or sets it in her bosom, and may she not stop loving me. O Lady Keepergenia, bring to perfection a perfect incantation." This is similar in form to other Egyptian spells, though written in Greek hexameter. The instruction, incantation over, appears in similar form in a number of Egyptian spells. Another spell, probably of Egyptian origin, Enen says, "I took your eye." Enen says, "I took your soul." Enen says, "I tasted your blood." Enen says, "I used." Enen says, "I devoured your liver." Enen says, "I something your skin." Enen says, "I did it." The goddess in heaven looked down upon him, and everything happened according to the wish of his soul. Enen says, "From the day and from the hour, standing or falling, I to desire friendship and affection until I die. O Lady Goddess Isis, bring to perfection my perfect incantation." This series of claims have been compared to ritual boasts in the Greek mysteries or to Egyptian texts in later papyri. The insertion of mythical narrative about the goddess recalls Egyptian spells which combine short dialogues into a mythic frame. Another Egyptian-themed spell, "Take myrrh, sing over it and anoint your face, saying, 'You are the myrrh with which Isis anointed herself when she went to the bosom of Osiris, her husband and brother. And you gave charm to her on that day. Give sexiness to me.'" And here's a corrupted passage. "Rouse up Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, Mistress Isis, bring to perfection a perfect incantation." Here Isis takes the place of Aphrodite. The Berlin Papyrus was written in such a way as to appeal to both Greek and Egyptian ideas of what a magic spell should look like. A set of spells of classical date includes an interpolation of a text of hexametrical charms used by potters to attack the kilns of their rivals, and include incantations invoking a daemon in the flea formula, as well as an interpolation of a later date literary version of a curse invoking the centaurs as destroyers of the kiln. Incantation bowls in Middle Eastern tradition. Incantation bowls have been found in the Middle East in the areas which are now Iraq and Iran, and were used as a form of protective magic during the 6th to 8th century CE. They're generally inscribed in a Jewish or Aramaic language. The bowls are inscribed on the inside with the writing forming a spiral from the rim to the centre. They were often placed in the thresholds of houses or outside in courtyards and cemeteries and in the homes of the deceased. John Arnold wrote in 2013 that he believes that they were placed upside down in the corners of houses to trap demons, who would follow the inscribed charms into the centre where they would be caught. Incantation bowls were also used in Jewish and Christian magical practice. Some incantation bowls were not written in any real language but in some kind of pseudo-script. These ones might be forgeries or made by illiterate scribes who sold them to illiterate clients. In Jewish magic, incantation bowls were used to protect against evil influences such as the demons Lilith and Bagdana and the evil eye. The Jewish bowls are inscribed with scriptural quotes from rabbinic texts and date to the 3rd to 7th century CE. The bowls were a form of amulet to drive away demons. Christian incantation bowls have also been found, inscribed in Syriac, a dialect of Aramaic and consisting of prayers, psalms and invocations for protection against evil forces. They're likely a blend of Christian and folk religious practices. An ancient Babylonian incantation bowl from the National Library of Israel collection is shown here. Incantation in Hinduism and Tantra. Incantation is used in Eastern traditions in the form of mantra vidya, which are incantations of mystical knowledge. The Devi Purana is an ancient text which belongs to the body of sacred Hindu texts called the Upa Puranas. The texts discuss many subjects including astronomy, cosmology, astrology, divination, medicine, etc., and the various different incarnations of Devi, the goddess. Devi has many forms, attributes, functions, and manifestations, and is said to confer 64 vijas, or different types of knowledge, on her devotees. The sacred text, the Devi Purana, establishes Devi as the supreme deity and explores her worship in her different forms, as Kali, Durga, Kamunda, etc. It is part of the Vamakara tradition, which focuses on the terrifying and wrathful forms of the goddess, whereas the Dakshinakara tradition of goddess worship focus on the tranquil goddess Sarasvati, Lakshmi, Parvati. Goddess Sarasvati, goddess of learning and music, is depicted here. Various mantras are chanted to connect with different deities and to achieve different powers. In order to connect with goddess Sarasvati, for example, the following mantra is used: Om Shrim Hrim Sarasvati Namah. The Devi Purana is used for the most important parts of Durga Puja, ritual worship of the goddess Durga, towards the end of the Navaratri celebrations. Durga is both a Vedic and a non-Vedic goddess, having ancient Aboriginal roots amongst early Indian tribes who made sacrifice, including human sacrifice, to female deities. The Devi Purana contains the Padamala mantra, Vijja, incantation, which is said to conform with Vedic laws and principles and attempts to synchronize Durga with Brahman, the ultimate reality, here expressed as goddess. Intermingled with Vedic elements are tantric rites, invocations, incantations, utterances of mystical syllables, and types of sorcery. The Devi Purana may have begun as a Vedic text, but changed direction over time towards Tantra and magical ritualistic practices. The Devi Purana describes 65 vijjas and states that performance of the vijja bestows magical powers on the practitioner and brings liberation from earthly bondage. The Padamala mantra Vijja is a magical spell which is said to have been used by the god Shiva to invoke Devi to destroy the demon Ghora. It is said to have been given by Shiva to Vishnu in 1,000,000 verses, but is reduced to 32 seed mantras used to invoke the goddess Kamunda and to obtain the practitioner's goals. However, the actual bija mantras, germ syllables, are deliberately not included in the text, with only explanations of the purposes and effects of each incantation provided. Bija mantras are never written or spoken in public, but can only be learned from a guru and are passed down orally. Only students who have undergone the proper preparations and initiations can be given the bija mantras. The effects include achieving veneration and popularity, separating the subtle body from the physical body, repelling any weapons thrown at the practitioner, being able to control the weather, the power of invisibility, control of bodies of water, control of weapons, the ability to cut through all obstacles, the power to spread epidemic diseases amongst one's enemies, sexual attraction, being able to kill someone from a distance, attracting a tantric partner, the ability to drive away disease, the power to cause insanity in another, the power to attract spirits, the power to make people or spirits dance, the ability to manifest delicious and sumptuous food, the ability to hypnotise women, the power to burn down a city, and various other powers. The practitioner is instructed to sit in a cremation ground, wearing a black garland, and to recite each one of the 32 mantras 8,000 times whilst performing ritual actions. As well as the specific achievements of each bija mantra, the Devi Purana says that there are an additional 108 goals which can be attained through chanting the incantation. E.g., the crime of killing a Brahmin can be nullified by a single recitation of the incantation, and when the mantra is uttered with utmost devotion and according to the prescribed method, a single recitation or even just listening to the mantras is equivalent to bathing in the holy river Ganges. All ailments and harmful situations are remedied by recitation in the proper manner and with full devotion. The text says that the use of the mantra is not limited to any particular people, but that there must be reverence and devotion to the goddess, and to have control over the senses. The Vijja is the Mahavijja, i.e. the supreme knowledge, the sum of all mantras and tantras, and empowers material and spiritual success, with chanting parts of the mantra separately, bestowing specific earthly goals, whereas chanting it in full leads to spiritual transformation. With each section of the mantra chanted, the practitioner changes internally as well as externally, gaining insight into their own being and the nature of reality with each physical reward. In Tantra, the human body is considered to be a microcosm of the material universe, both of which are produced by the original sound called nada, which permeates and pulses through the universe. The ultimate goal of tantric practice is to unify the inner with the outer, and this is achieved through the power of sound. Through recitation of mantras, microcosm and macrocosm become one. In each of the 32 mantras, Devi is addressed by a different name, indicating how she is perceived in each ritual and the powers she bestows. The proper ritual must be performed with the recitation of each mantra, and different ways of chanting the mantras are described, such as repeated muttering, loud chanting, and silent utterance of the germ syllables or bija mantras. The practitioner concentrates on the particular form of Devi and carries out the practice at a specific time and location. Devi worship is carried out on the 4th, 5th, 8th, 9th, and 11th days of the moon, and on the full moon. The different aspects of deity are visualised on different parts of the body, and talismans with the deity's name or mantra on may be carried. Mudras or hand gestures and breathing exercises, pranayama, are also used. Spells, mantra karana, are chanted and the seed syllables are uttered. Puraskarana refers mainly to the repetition of mantras, which in Tantrism is the most important act. The Tantras have complex practices, but mantra is common to other forms of Hinduism and Buddhism. Most people are familiar with the mantra Om or Aum. Some may also be familiar with the Om Mani Padme Hum. The combination of mantra with a focus of art and writing can also be used to invoke the power of a deity or to connect with deity, for example, drawing the goddess Sarasvati with her form made entirely out of written mantras, or using an outline drawing of Sarasvati and colouring it in by writing the mantra out in different colours within the imagery. Whilst creating this artwork, chant her mantra, which is used for increasing memory, concentration, knowledge and study power, sharp mind and focus. Recite the mantra 108 times with japa beads or whilst drawing and filling in the mantra in an image of the goddess. This practice can also be adapted for use with Western deities such as Hecate or Canonis with an appropriate prayer. Mantra meaning. Om means the divine reality, it's the sound of the universe. Shreem means material prosperity. Hreem means becoming a leader and fulfilling desires for power. Saraswati means Saraswati Mata. Namaha means we bow or show reverence. The goddess, also known as the goddess of arts and knowledge, is described as a beautiful woman to embody the concept of creativity and knowledge as supremely alluring. She is the daughter of goddess Durga and Lord Shiva. It is thought that the goddess endows human beings with the powers of speech, learning and wisdom. She has 4 hands representing 4 aspects of human personality in learning: intellect, mind, alertness and ego. The goddess has holy scriptures in one hand and a lotus, the symbol of true knowledge, in the second. The earliest known mention of Sarasvati as a goddess we can find is in the Rig Veda. The goddess has remained significant from the ancient Vedic period through modern times of Hindu traditions. A few Hindus celebrate the festival of Vasant Panchami, the 5th day of spring, in her honour, and mark the day by helping young children learn how to write alphabets on that day. The goddess is also adored and revered by believers of the Jain religion of Western Central India, as well as some Buddhist sects. In the Shantipava of the Hindu epic Mahabharata, the goddess is called the Mother of the Vedas, and later as the divine creative symphony who appeared when Brahma created the universe. In Book 2 of Taittiriya Brahmana, the goddess is called the Mother of eloquent speech and melodious music. She is the active energy and power of Brahma. The goddess is also mentioned in many minor Sanskrit publications, such as Sarada Tilaka of the 8th century CE. The benefits of chanting the Sarasvati mantra. The mantra is said to illuminate the minds of those seeking knowledge, be it related to the spiritual world or educational field. This mantra is considered to instill confidence and impart strong communication skills. Also, chanting this mantra helps in developing our speech and memory, removes vani dosha, the negative impacts of speech on relationships, and helps us in making the correct use of our words. Dedicated chanting of the mantra can help a student pass their exams with flying colours, and a job aspirant to clear their interview successfully. Even those aspiring to go in for higher studies and research work can benefit from regular chanting of the mantra. Galda in Norse tradition. Galda is an Old Norse term referring to a specific type of magic, song or incantation. In ancient Norse culture, these chants were believed to possess powerful or supernatural properties, often used in rituals and ceremonies to invoke magic, heal or influence events. The term Galda is derived from the Old Norse verb gala, which means to sing or to chant. In Viking Age and medieval Scandinavia society, Galda was often associated with seers, sorcerers and practitioners of magic, known as Volva or Seidkona. These magic songs were typically recited or sung in a specific rhythm and tone, sometimes accompanied by physical movements or gestures to enhance their effect. Runes and runic formulae can also be chanted to cast spells, and this can be done in conjunction with carving the runes on pieces of wood or drawing them on talismans. Galda can also involve firing sound out from one's mouth like an arrow of sound, which takes the rune straight to its target. This is often used for cursing and requires practice of a specific technique of voice work. Soin, Welsh magic. Soin is a Welsh word which means a spell, charm, sorcery or witchcraft. It is linked to words for singing, chanting or incantation, referring to sung spells. Soin can also refer to a magical remedy, healing charm, amulet, talisman, sign, ceremony, ritual, blessing or fascination. Welsh terms for practitioners of magic are soinwraig, which means sorceress or female magician, or soinwr, sorcerer or male magician. Songs and poetry have always been important in Welsh magic, whether witchcraft or druidic magic. There are 25 strict poetic metres known as englins in Welsh poetry, which can be used for magical purposes. In the fourth branch of the Mabinogi, a collection of old Welsh tales, the magician Gwydion sings an englyn to heal the hero Llywelyn, who has been mortally wounded and turned into an eagle with maggots eating his flesh. Gwydion's englyn brings Llay down from the top of the tree and turns him back into human form. As I reside in Wales, I often use Welsh in ritual, though I'm not a native Welsh speaker. Welsh is the oldest language of the British Isles, and through using Welsh in ritual, those of us who live in Britain can connect with the ancestors of land and with those spirits and gods of our local area who were invoked by the ancestors in times past in their native language. In Welsh bardic tradition, Welsh poetic verses, englins, are used for spells, the language and rhythm of the particular poetic forms having a powerful magic of their own. Soin is a type of Welsh magic which involves incantation or singing of spells, the words, forms, rhythms and syllabic flow having certain powers. For native Welsh speakers, using ritual Welsh in certain poetic forms is a magical tool, whereas for those of us who are not native Welsh speakers, using Welsh in ritual brings us to a different state of consciousness. In the same way that Buddhist and Hindu mantras are chanted in Sanskrit or Tibetan, or ritual magicians use Hebrew, Latin, ancient Greek or even ancient Egyptian invocations, words and chants because of the power that these ancient languages hold and bring to the ritual, Welsh words also bring the same ancient powers to our rites. Some basic phrases for use in ritual. Bendigaid Baddot means blessed be, singular and informal. Bendigaid Baddoch is blessed be, which is the plural and singular polite form. Henfich ar croeso means hail and welcome, and henfich ar farewell means hail and farewell. From all the above, it can be seen that incantation is used in many different ways across cultures, and the power of the spoken word, as well as the importance of sound, even when using nonsensical or barbarous words, is extremely important in magic. Experiment with the different ways of using chants, barbarous words, invocations, and written and spoken formulas. Try using different languages and try writing your own rhyming chants as well as chants and spells in different poetic meters and styles. Use metaphor and myth in your incantations and try using different formulaic beginnings and endings to chants and spells. You're only limited by your imagination. Remember also that sound is energy which can be transformed into different types of energy, and that language is power. I hope that you've enjoyed this overview of incantation and the way that it's been used across several different cultures. This is by no means an exhaustive exploration. I could also have covered the Kabbalistic use and the chanting of the Tetragrammaton in Hebrew Kabbalah, or the use of chanting in other cultures such as Chinese, Taoism and Shinto, and other traditions. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. And please also check out my book, And I Shall Go in Our Lady's Name, a manual of progressive witchcraft. Available as paperback from Amazon, or there is a Kindle version, and I hopefully will soon get it on Apple Books as well.